Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bravo Tea with a Stay at Home Mom. I'm Erica, and I'm ready to talk all things Bravo. Welcome back, everybody, and I have a very special guest on the pod today. We have Donna from the Daily Dose of Donna. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Erica? Thank you for having me.
I'm good. Thank you so much for coming on. I love anyone that wants to come on here and talk all the things Bravo, all these crazy people.
Crazy.
I
Constantly.
know. I know. I feel like they're not letting us rest right now. I feel like top of the headlines has basically been James Kennedy getting arrested. So tell me everything you think about that, and we'll spit some facts along the way as well.
I mean, what do I think about it? If part of my shtick is being able to just say exactly what I mean, which gets me in trouble all the
Mhm.
time. But I don't try to be kind about situations, especially when it comes to this. I think he's a big douche. And the truth is, we've seen it time and time again. And just as Tom Sandoval's, ex current girlfriend said, a tiger doesn't change their stripes. And James Kennedy has proven time and time again that he is honestly one of the most unpredictable, emotional people out there. He is so hot and bothered. He cannot control his obviously alcohol we've seen, but God knows what else we don't know what he's
Mhm.
doing over there. And he has been accused by multiple women in the past. And so clearly he has a temper. And so this doesn't really, I mean, it surprised me. Obviously, it surprised me
Yeah.
that he actually got arrested. But then everything since then is just shocking that he's not taking an ounce of accountability. He's trying to fight it tooth and nail. He's not even considering saying, hey, let me actually take my health, like put everything else aside. He's like, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Let me just keep DJing and pretend everything's fine.
Yeah. I was actually really surprised to see because I feel like when he first came on Vanderpump, he was really young. He was drinking, so he was bad. And if any time to change, I thought this was it. I'm like, oh, he seems very busy with the DJing. He has a house now. He got the dog back, which I feel like that was a big deal for him. And Allie seems so nice and they seemed happy. So I was disappointed because then when he made that statement yesterday on the Instagram stories, he said he wants to like work on himself, his sobriety. And I'm like, well, when was there a relapse in your sobriety though?
Well, I mean, I just think on the last reunion, I think it was the last reunion that we watched, he had said, I think Allie, I'm pretty sure it was this last one when Allie said to him, I don't like when you drink. And he's like, yeah, we take a lot of breaks. He said, we take a lot of breaks. We like to take, a month off, this and that, like basically do dry January. Well,
Mhm.
I'm not an addict, luckily, thank God, but my dad is. And from everything that I know about addiction, you can't take breaks. Like, that's just not the way it works. You can't introduce it into your life just on Saturday nights or just like on, randomly here and there. I think this man it doesn't get that it's not a thing that you can kind of just moderate. He doesn't
Right.
see it like a serious thing. So he doesn't take it seriously. He doesn't think that it's a big enough problem. And unfortunately, Allie clearly allowed him. I imagine he was doing it around her. So she was not
Mhm.
being tough enough. Because I remember Raquel at least gave him that ultimatum. I remember that,
Yeah.
right? Where she was like,
Do you remember? Oh, I'm sorry. Continue.
no, yeah,
Sorry.
go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you remember though? I feel like no one is remembering. Allie did say it was either on the reunion or the season that she had to move out for a couple days because he was drinking, and she
He
gave
took
him
her
an
cat.
ultimatum as well. Yeah, and she did kind of the Raquel speech, like, "If you don't stop, I'm leaving and we'll break up."
But then you come back and you're still
Mhm.
allowing him to drink around you. And from the various sources that we heard of people at the party, at Kathy Hilton's party, listen, I mean, I listened to a couple podcasts of people that had seen him at other things before Kathy Hilton's party, like at other events. And I've
Mhm.
heard that he was drinking at other events. I don't think this is an isolated night. I think that he's probably drinking. He's going to these DJ parties. He's drinking, I'm sure. I don't think this was a one time in 6 months kind of thing. I'm sure now that his show is over, he doesn't have to pretend to be a certain person on camera anymore. He's kind of feeling like a little
Sure.
bit more free. And of
Mhm.
course, this is all just speculation. We don't have any proof and we're not like in his drink, But I don't believe this was a sober incident. I don't think that he acts this way sober from what we've seen. I think sober, he's probably a pretty, I don't know if like a calm guy, but I think he's pretty together. I don't think he acts that
Yeah.
volatile.
He's like a Jekyll and Hyde. That's exactly what I think. If he's not drinking, he's fine, but if he is, he's a person I wouldn't wanna associate with.
Yeah. And those are the scariest types of people, honestly, because
Mhm.
they always say like drinkers that can completely change their personalities when they're drunk or when they drink. Like, you don't even have to be drunk, some people. Some people,
Yeah.
when they're drinking, can completely change. Like, if you look at past Roni, I mean, of course it's Roni, but like at past Real Housewives or even just Southern Charm or any of these Bravo type shows,
Yeah.
there are some characters that we've seen on shows that completely change when they're drinking.
Mhm.
Look at Dorinda. Like Dorinda was a
Yeah.
nasty, nasty drunk.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think we ever saw Ramona Singer become like a horrible human being when she drank on that
Yeah,
show. I
she's just,
never
like, funny. Yeah.
Yeah, she just kind of became silly a little bit. Or even
Yeah.
Bethany. Like Bethany
Yeah.
didn't change her personality tremendously. But look at Sonia when she drank, like a huge difference, in her
Yeah.
personality when she was drinking. So certain people just completely and some people become more fun. And those are the
Right.
fun people that you want to be around when they're drinking. But I think James was the person. And even Tom Schwartz, I just saw this on a TikTok of the reunion clip when Tom Schwartz is like, yeah, the two drink James. That's the James we always want to be around, the two drink James. The problem with
Yeah.
drinkers, though, is I don't think you can stop at two
They can't
drinks.
stop. Yeah.
No.
And I have a feeling, like, this is just my 2 cents and opinion. If he's drinking, he probably dabbles into other things,
It's like
and
it
if he
opens up
wasn't
your
drinking,
inhibitions.
yeah, like Carl said on Summer House, he's like, "If
Mm.
I'm drinking, I'm doing cocaine." So, it's
Mhm.
like he can't control himself, so I feel like he's one that stuck the sober life, and Lala as well. Like, Lala has never even had a slip up.
Yeah, Lala's pretty surprising, actually. Like, you don't realize how hard it's probably been for her because she never really weaponized it against anyone. Like, she never used, I mean, she talks about her sobriety, but she never
Mhm.
uses it as, like, you don't know how hard this is for me. You don't
Right.
feel that she does that. She mentions that she's sober, but to be around all these cuckoo heads on a show like this for 5 years, and I think she just passed her 5-year sobriety date
Mhm.
in these like crazy last 5 years and not touch a sip of alcohol is probably one of the hardest things I can only imagine. James can't do
I
it.
know.
I mean, none of them can
Especially
do it.
through the Randall stuff, like, if any time Lala would've fallen off the wagon, you would think it would've been the Randall stuff, but good for her because she's like, "I don't have time to fall off the wagon, I have a baby."
I think that's like but that's the thing is like there's certain people that actually do prioritize the safety of
Mhm,
their loved ones and the ones around them, and James is just all smoke and mirrors. Like his
mhm.
statement literally meant nothing. I was saying on my show today that I feel like his statement is like a brochure that you get at Erewhon. Like it's
Yeah.
not a real statement. It's like a yoga mantra.
Yeah.
It's like I'm
What
working
is
on my
with
growth.
everyone doing the same thing too? So, like,
Every single
Teresa and
person.
Louis did, like, the orange thing, and so did JT, from Southern Charm, and then,
Yes.
Tom Sandoval and Victoria Lee Robinson did the, like, black with the white font, and so did James, and I'm like, "Are publicists doing this for them, and they all share the same publicist?" Like,
But, like, at least, James, like, you literally got arrested for domestic violence. Put it on your
mhm.
feed. Like,
Yeah.
don't put it in a story. It's that it's that not you can erase it from your feed in a week, but put it on your
Mhm.
feed, Like, say it with your whole chest. At
Mhm.
least make it so that everyone sees it when they go to your page. Not that you have to, like, find it in a story that expires in 24 hours. It's
Right.
giving, like, very, "Okay, I don't want to, but I guess I have to."
Yeah, and it's like,
You know
"Hi, we all screenshot it, so it's gonna be on the internet forever because 'cause I'm one of them."
I know, exactly. Like, but at least if you look at Tamra, for example, Tamra Judge, who's made tons of gaffes in the last few months. When she
Mhm,
had that Spectrum comment and
mhm.
everyone everyone attacked her over that. At least she, apologized and took responsibility and put it on her feed.
Yeah,
Most of these people are told by their PR people, if you have the right people in your corner, they would tell
right.
you, put out a statement ASAP, take responsibility, apologize, and put it out there publicly. He took a week. He has not said, I'm sorry. And he didn't
Mhm.
even mention her name. What?
I know, and so now let's get into, like, what we think about Allie. Are you shocked that he went back to the house and they stayed together for a couple days until she moved out? I wouldn't have. I mean, she has a lot of friends out there.
So I have a very unpopular opinion about it. Um, I think they were hoping it was going to go away and never come out
Mhm,
because it took a few days for it to come out publicly. So
mhm,
my experience was with this was I got a message from a source on Wednesday night. So 24 hours after he got arrested, I got a message from a source saying this happened. He got arrested last night.
mhm.
And it had not come out publicly. And I was like, shut up. And it was confirmed because it was directly from the source was basically from the police department, not directly from the police department, but basically from the police department in Burbank. And I was floored because no one knew yet. And I had to like sit with that for 12, 14 hours. Like, when is it going to come out? Because the police records do
Mhm.
not come out publicly until like 3 or 4 days later, at least in Burbank. But I was surprised that TMZ doesn't scour those records or like ask or have those or have their people at those, police departments already calling and saying, because usually
Yeah,
that kind of stuff comes out right away. So
yeah.
shockingly, it didn't come out. And um and the more I thought about it, I was like, ew, I hate James for doing this. If this is actually well, I knew it was true because I had heard directly, and what I had heard, the actual message I got was he got arrested for hitting Allie. Those are the words I heard, hitting Allie.
Kidding.
So I I reached out like on the anonymous tip line to TMZ. And because I knew it was going to come out anyway, it was just a matter of time, maybe that day or the day
Mhm.
after. And 30 minutes later, the article came out. I think it was not just me. I think that they were already working on a story because I had another person reach out to me saying that they were getting the heads up that the article was coming out about 10 minutes after I made that call. So I think that they were already working on the story.
Yeah.
But I think that they were hoping it was going to go away. She went to that public event the next day acting
Mhm,
like everything was fine, which is also, and this is not like blaming Allie. I think Allie had a commitment she had to go to, but it's
mhm,
concerning how easily, after not only you get allegedly hurt by your boyfriend, but
mm.
he gets arrested and taken to jail for it. And you put on a smile and act like everything's fine. Like, I don't know if I could have pulled that off.
I know,
Could
I would
you?
have been like, "I have diarrhea."
I would have
Like,
said I had the stomach flu.
yeah, I would have said, "I'm so sorry." I get why she would wanna go because that's poor reflection on her, but I would definitely make an immediate, the dramatic excuse of illness.
And I spoke to some sources who were there in her circle, and they had no idea anything was wrong. So it wasn't even like she was showing visible clues that like she was not okay.
That's
She was
scary
acting like
too. It's
everything
like
was
she's
fine,
trained or robot.
which makes me worry. Is this something that is just like constant? Not the arrest part, but the action.
Yeah, we need to interview the neighbor because you just heard them yelling, so then therefore you called the police because my husband and I are loud. We may not even be yelling. I may be yelling at my children to listen. My neighbors are not calling thinking and just assuming there's domestic violence happening.
I think what my friend said was that they saw or read that, like, the neighbor actually saw something in the front yard, but I don't know if that's a rumor or what. But that's what I was saying too.
Mm,
The neighbor doesn't call the cops just off one yell. I mean,
yeah.
how many times do you hear your neighbors yell? Like, it happens all the time.
Right.
To call the cops must be either this is something that sounds real bad or she's
Mhm.
yelling, "Stop, you're hurting me."
Right.
Or right? Because, like, that would make me freak out. If I heard my neighbor, the wife, say, "Stop, you're hurting me," or "Ow." And
Yeah.
he's like and you hear visible signs or sounds, that would concern me, or they see something,
Yeah.
right?
Which they could have through the window.
Totally. I mean, these houses are sardines.
Tiny. Yeah, I know. And they're like, yeah, they're right next to each other.
No, literally, like, the area of Burbank where they live, you literally can see into each other's windows if there's not, like, a perfect cover.
Oh, I don't like that. And obviously the airport. They said that every episode last season and would show
Someone
like an
said, "How did
airplane.
they" Yeah, someone said, "How did they hear them fighting over the airports?" But there's, like, a noise ordinance for the airlines, so, like, they can't fly after 10 PM, so there was no flights. But you can
Oh,
hear everything. And someone else was like I did hear something on a show where people were like, "I can't believe a neighbor would call the cops, that's so nosy." But I wanna remind people, like, you should call the cops if your spidey sense says that something's wrong.
yeah. Yeah.
Don't you
And then if
agree?
they get there and nothing's wrong, then like, okay, oops, sorry. But
But, like, the worst thing you could
obviously it's a
do
good thing that that happened.
yeah, like, the worst thing you could do is not call the cops, and then, God forbid, there's, like, something even worse that happens in a home.
Right.
Then you're gonna live with yourself being like, "I could have prevented, God forbid, something." I don't know.
Right. So now her family's there and she did move into an Airbnb temporarily. But this is the part that I'm curious about. She'll be gone for a little bit around the family. Are you gonna go back? It says temporary, and then it says they're still together, but just she's not gonna live there, and obviously that's his house.
He owns it full out.
Yeah, but it's like, are you gonna return to it, Allie? Do you want to return to it? It's just and then her parents, how could you ever then get over this? Sometimes you can't get over things.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Mhm,
How would you I don't know your relationship with your parents. How in the world can her father I imagine she has a father that is in town. I don't know her parents at all. I actually don't know
mhm.
who she has in her family. How in the world can her parents look James in the eye and
Oh,
say,
they
like,
can, and
"Love
mine
you,
wouldn't.
son"?
Yeah, no, that's like remember Raquel's dad? Like, you could tell he seemed like normal, straight shooter, and he's like, "Yeah, okay, let's get in the car, you're done with this show." Like, when he picked her up from the reunion or whatever. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
it's
I
just
have 2 sons, but I can't even fathom having a daughter, knowing that this happened, assuming this probably wasn't the only time after reading all the things online. I mean, people they
right.
have Google. They're probably
Yeah.
seeing TikToks and Instagram too.
Yeah, and now I don't know what you think, but obviously this is 100% I believe this now. Remember when Raquel got her nose job and they were like, "Oh, we were, like, moving into each other to give each other a kiss, and I broke my nose," and I was like, "Okay, maybe that could happen because, like, it could," but now I'm like, "No, that's not what happened."
I literally was sitting with my husband when this story came out, like, over the weekend. We were having a martini together, and I
Oh, I
was
love
like,
that.
"Try to break my nose with your nose." Like, let's just, like, how? And,
Yeah,
like, we have listen, it's been 15 years of marriage. Like, we've had some crazy nights of, like, passionate you know what, and I've never ever been like, "Ow, my nose,"
I
from
know, and it's like I
kissing.
get when you have, plastic surgery, you have to be everything's all fragile, so something could go awry, but that just seemed a little weird.
And if you did have a nose job, wouldn't you be extra sensitive about going close to each other's noses? Like,
Yeah,
you wouldn't be kissing and, like, you would be, like,
no.
so
The doctor
I don't
probably
know.
said, like, "Don't even get near somebody's face. Don't
Yeah.
ruin my work."
Yeah. I don't know. The whole thing is just shady, and I mean, look, Allie's gonna do whatever Allie's gonna do. she
Mhm.
got into this relationship, obviously being able to search James's past. Everything's been on camera. Everything's been documented, online. She
Mhm.
has seen what Raquel has said. She has seen what Kristen has said. She's been able to see it all, and she's chosen to be in this relationship. I'm not saying that she has asked for it or deserves it by any means. I'm just saying that it's very possible has she knows who he is and is okay with who
Mhm.
he is. Either this is the first time it's ever happened to her. I doubt it. But maybe
Mhm.
she's like one of those people that's like, he's gonna change, he's gonna change, he's gonna change. And she wants him to be like this version of him. But I don't think people change for a woman. He's not gonna change for her. He's gonna change
Yeah.
for him, right? If he
Right.
wants
He
to.
has to want it. As soon as she talked about that ultimatum, I went, "Oh, no, that's what Raquel did, and you can't tell people, 'Oh, you need to change or I'm gonna leave.' They have to look at you and say, 'I'm gonna change because I don't want you to leave.'"
Exactly. And not only because I don't want you to leave. I'm gonna change because I don't wanna live this way.
Mhm.
It's not I'm not changing for you not to leave because that's also dangerous too, I think, right? Like,
Yeah,
because then they
that is
resent
true.
the girl
That is true.
always.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. If you stop doing something that you love or you wanna do to keep the man or the woman in your life, then I feel like the rest of your life, you're always gonna be like, "I really crave that cigarette, but I stopped because of him," or whatever, you know?
Right. Like Carrie on Sex and the City when Aiden
Totally.
wanted her to quit smoking.
And then you end up, like, going into the alley and just like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
really need a
Yeah.
cigarette."
Yeah,
Like Dorit
sneaking
in the
it.
car.
Oh my god, yeah, let's talk about Beverly Hills a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm loving
obviously.
Dorit this season because she got the memo. Now, I don't believe that her and PK's divorce is, like, for her storyline. I just don't think these people would blow up their lives that much for a storyline, but I love that she's just getting 0 Fs. Like, last night with her and Camille Grammer, I mean, I don't know what was worse, her being so annoying to Dorit or her forgetting Erica's name.
Oh my god. How annoying is Camille?
She's like, "And you? And you?" She went, "Erica. Hi, I'm Erica." Like, and we
I
spell it the same way with a K. I love that.
Oh my god, how okay, Camille is officially like, please, I beg of you, Camille, stop coming to parties. Please.
Yeah.
Like, is there a season that we can ever get without a Camille appearance? I'm not excited by it. No one wants it.
I don't care if, like, she's there because as we saw, Kyle had, like, a lot of people there. It was not just a "It's for the ladies' cast party." But why were you sitting at the table with the cast or the
No, she was
couches?
invited for this purpose, though, because then
For
she wouldn't
sure.
have sat with that tribal council, as Bose called it. She was invited, she was mic'd. She wasn't just one of the many people at the party. Like,
Yeah,
she was invited and paid to be part of this party.
that is true. Yeah, that was definitely planned, but I was like, "Can we have, like, the chat without you?" I love that Dory, though, was like, "Why are you here? Can you leave? Do you want your 5 minutes?" And she was saying it kind of without fourth wall breaking, but it's true. It's like, you're just here to be on TV because I feel like Camille and Kyle kinda went through, like, a rough patch, and I was actually a little surprised to see her there. I feel like they're really not friends anymore.
I think Kyle has it so out for Dorit this season
That is
that
true too.
she's, like, trying to find anything to weaponize against Dorit. She's like, "Okay, I can't stand Dorit, so let me use Sutton against Dorit. Okay, now let me use Camille against Dorit. Like, what's next?"
Mhm. Yeah.
She can't stand Dorit, and it's obvious, so obvious. Even in the after show yesterday, she said that Dorit really messed up last night at the party because she used the C word. She thought that that was the worst thing ever. All of a sudden, Kyle is like, you
Yeah,
know,
holier than thou.
yeah. She said in the after show that Dorit doesn't have an excuse for using that kind of language no matter what, because Dorit has Dorit said, "My life is falling apart. That's why I use that that's why I was that angry." And
Mhm.
even Erica said, "Listen, give her a break. Like, she's going through a tough time." And Kyle said, "That's not an excuse." But just last week's episode, Kyle said, "Give me a break. I lost my best
Mhm.
friend and my husband. Give me a
Yeah,
break.
there's a
Like,
lot of hypocrisy with the 2 of them. So whose
who's this
side are you
Kyle?
more on?
I mean, I'm definitely not team Kyle in the last 2 years.
Ye Me
I
too.
can't I find her incredibly, incredibly frustrating to watch.
Mhm, she's very hypocritical.
She asked for the divorce that she's now the victim of.
I know. I think this is my story of it,
Okay.
that Mo was very busy with work. She
Mhm.
didn't like that. He did a little bit of that shady stuff with the PPP money. Apparently, he
Mhm.
didn't give it to the employee for the payroll. She found
Okay.
out.
Okay.
I think it's never helped the whole Hilton and Highland saga, even
Mhm.
though the agency has been around for a while. That was a long time ago when he's like, "I have an opportunity to start this." And I think that has been bad. I think he
Okay.
was so busy with work when her friend did pass away, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the Morgan Wade girl comes along. I definitely think they were together in some capacity, or at least Kyle had feelings, at least. Maybe not mutual, but I think Kyle definitely. I think Morgan was, like, so shell-shocked by the backlash it was getting that she's like, "I can't do this anymore." She's broken up with Kyle, in my opinion. And Kyle regrets kind of pushing Maurizio to the side, like grass isn't always greener because now she's lonely. But now Maurizio is like, well, I wasn't going to sit around and wait for you to be done with your midlife crisis getting tattoos with Morgan Wade. I am now calling the shots and I don't want to get back together with you.
Of course.
Is that kind of
100%.
what you think too?
100%. Like in so many ways, yeah. I do think that Kyle and Morgan were together for a while. I think that
Mhm.
they no, I don't think I know that they were together for a while. It was an open secret basically
Yeah.
amongst people that I know here in LA. Um and I don't know if they necessarily fully broke up. I think that they're still on off, but it had to like it slowed down. And I think Morgan ended things with Kyle for a lot of the
Mhm.
same reason that you're saying. I think it got too serious, too fast for Kyle. I think Kyle fell in love, is what my guess
Mhm.
is. Because that happens, I think, a lot of times when you're unhappy in a marriage, then you find someone else, and then your brain goes like immediately to like, I'm in love with this other person. You kind of fantasize
Mhm.
about this other thing. You go all in and you completely step away from what your life was, which is why last year she literally like crawled, or like her skin crawled when Mauricio wanted to even just go close to her.
I
Remember that?
know.
She
That
couldn't
was like
even like
so uncomfortable.
she couldn't handle his touch. And
Mhm.
then, of
That was
course, what
awkward.
man wants to sit by that? Especially a man like
Mhm.
Mauricio. He's not some lame loser guy. He's a
No.
handsome, successful, like,
Mhm.
let's be real, this man can get laid like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a million girls that are willing to hook up with him. And 5 seconds later, he's skiing down a mountain with like two chicks in bikinis. So like he no man, no man in his position would ever stand by while his wife is like, ew,
Or
while
doing the
he's
whole
like just
Morgan Wade thing. Like, I'm like, he may get DMs from women, and I don't know, perhaps he has
I'm sure he did.
been unfaithful
I'm sure he was.
before, I don't know. But it's like the fact that you're flaunting it is rude. I mean, you're still married. And I know this isn't your friend because I have friends, but I don't follow them around. Like, leave my family to follow them around. Where's that documentary she made about Morgan Wade?
It's in
Like,
the
when's
archives that
that
we'll
coming
never
out?
see.
Yeah,
Well,
is
and
that like
and
a
that's the thing. It's
sex
like,
tape we'll never see?
but I think from what I hear about people that have affairs is it literally becomes like drug like addiction like, where
Mhm,
when you become addicted to a drug and all you care about is getting the next hit, getting the next bump, getting the next drink, whatever it is that you're looking for. And so I think there was a time there for Kyle where she did not care what was in her way. She was going to find a way to find time with Morgan, right? Get in that
mhm,
music video, hire people to film a documentary, a faux documentary. Find a way to get to Paris, find a way to get to Nashville. Forget the fact that she has a 15-year-old, studying for the SATs at home or whatever the goddamn Portia
I know.
was
Poor
doing. Like,
Portia.
forget that. Forget the fact that her daughter Farah's engagement was being broken up with. Like, forget that she is still a mom. And
Yeah.
forget her husband, who's literally like, hello, Lucy.
That's
Hello.
funny. That's why I got, like, mad when she was like, "Ugh, do you have to do stuff for the agency?" And it's like, "He's working. You're not working." Like, when you leave them to follow Morgan, you're not her tour manager. Because for a little bit at the very beginning, I was like, maybe her and Maurizio, like, invested money in her career. Because that's the only way, like, my husband I make him watch all this stuff with me too. I was like, that's the only way that, like, you or I would follow a band around and be almost groupie, right? Like, if we're financially invested in them and wanted to, like, keep an eye on
And that would make sense for a little second there. Actually, for a hot
them. Mhm.
second, it would make sense because there was like a dinner, a picture of them all at dinner in Italy, like when they first all met. But then it was
Yeah.
weird because all of a sudden he was no longer ever around. So it was just her.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
she had her perform at her friend's, memorial like charity dinner. And
Oh,
Mauricio
yeah,
was
yeah.
not there. And she played it out
Mhm.
like Mauricio wasn't there because he was busy. Bull. Mauricio would be there. Like this guy runs the
Yeah.
agency. Has no issue whatsoever jumping on a private plane and being there if she wanted him there. She didn't want
Right.
him there because Morgan was performing that night. And it would have
Right.
been weird because her girlfriend and lover, maybe it
Mhm.
was a one-way lover, but the apple of her eye was on stage and she didn't want her, pesky annoying husband to be like
I know.
ruining the vibes. That's really what it came down to. All last season, all we saw was the story of a woman who was in love with someone else. And if you replaced Morgan
Mhm.
with a man, it would have been
Oh,
a
yeah.
full-on affair.
Yeah,
It would
for
have been
sure.
inappropriate,
Yeah. I
right?
think we need to liquor Kathy Hilton up and get her to confess because I was like, if anyone to confess, because she was around or like last year, because you know how she had the direct TV party at her house, but then she had her real party
Yep.
that pictures just went out. And I was like, oh, well, Morgan Wade in there this year, but she
And
was
remember
there
last
last
year
year
she
as
was
your
all over
date.
it.
She was there as your date, but now she's
I
on.
thought
That's
about
what I
that
mean.
too.
Or
And Jeff
like,
Lewis.
Teddy's single now. Why aren't you hanging out with Teddy all the time like you were, Morgan Wade? Like, she's always like, "Oh, it's my friend," and I get it. I have friends too, but I don't drag them around like my date.
She didn't bring any friends to Kathy's house the other night.
Mhm,
And then, what's so interesting is, Jeff Lewis, uh, last Christmas time, I would listen to him like constantly around that time. I don't listen to
mhm,
him as often anymore, but that was the time where he didn't I don't think he went to Kathy Hilton's party, but he was at Jackie Schimmel's party. And she
mhm,
had a Christmas party like right around this time as well. And I remember because Stassi was at the party. He was talking about Stassi. He was talking about like all these other people that were at the party. And he
mhm.
said, yeah, Kyle Richards was there with Morgan Wade. I'm like, oh, she's bringing Morgan Wade not just to Kathy Hilton's big, huge party, which is like a really fun, big to do, but to Jackie
Right,
Schimmel's tiny, like Calabasas holiday party. That's like an intimate little party. That's not like a big paparazzi vibe. You're
right, and
bringing
it's
your
like you're bringing
girlfriend.
her to multiple parties as your date.
I'm sorry. Like, how
Yeah,
much more proof do you need? It's like, how much more proof do we need that James Kennedy beats women?
I know, or that Tom Sandoval hits on girls' friends
Right?
because that
It's
was
just
weird.
that was so weird too.
And then
But
he
yeah,
was definitely having a bender.
what did you say?
He was definitely on a bender. I know, I feel like I totally, like, ADD
No,
switched
I'm
to
so
talk about that.
ADHD.
But, he was like she posted Victoria Lee Robinson posted, like, "A tiger never changes its stripes," and then all of a sudden, he's, like, 5 AM ripping a cigarette, drinking a Coors Light, which he just never went to sleep and was on a bender, and then all of a sudden she posts same format and says, "I made a terrible mistake." Like, so robotic, like, he had a gun to her head and said, "Please do this so that people don't think I'm a cheater, but she's the same thing a little bit. It's like, he cheated on Ariana after 10 years. You think he wouldn't do that to you?
It's look, I would like to say that once a cheater, not always a cheater, and I do believe that there are situations like that.
Mhm.
I just don't think this is the one. Like, they've
Yeah,
had these
agreed.
kinds of situations already. I
Mhm.
remember waking up one morning and seeing a news story or someone posting about the fact that, like, one, um one didn't follow the other one and someone unfollowed this. Like, we've seen this story
Yes.
before play
Yeah.
out with these 2.
Yeah.
It's
And Billie Lee, remember? Was, like, talking about how she
yeah.
felt their relationship was unhealthy because she was drinking. That was when it was kind of on, like, his sober journey. I never thought Tom was gonna be, like, sober forever, though.
I think that it's all alcohol, maybe drug, no
Mhm.
sleep, party related.
Yeah.
Nothing good happens after a certain amount of time, after a certain time on the clock, after a certain amount of drinks. And I just think, like, I don't know, some of the biggest fights I've ever had with my husband have been after too many drinks. Like, that just is how these things happen. You
Yeah.
can't expect to have a healthy relationship if you're over drinking. It's just not gonna
All the
work,
time.
especially when you have
Yeah.
these kinds of personalities.
Yeah.
And then you have someone like such an idiot. She's such an idiot too, because you have a public personality and you have
Yeah.
he's a public person. So if you're
Mhm.
such an idiot that you're going to go straight to your stories and
Yeah.
risk his whole life being blown up again, if I were Tom, I would break up with her just for this
I
because
know,
that
because
is
then it's
not
like the
someone you
next
can
day,
trust.
"Oops. Oops, just kidding."
So they both can't trust each other now, ever. She can't trust
Yeah.
him because she's always gonna be worried that he's cheating on her, and he can't
Mhm.
trust her because now every single time she's mad at him, she's gonna blow him up again publicly. Like, this is not good.
I know, I'm, like, shocked he's even, like, at the point concerned about having a girlfriend. Like, you had a relationship for 10 years and imploded. You kinda had a relationship, I guess you can consider it, with Raquel for 9 months. Just be single, and you wouldn't be cheating on anybody.
I don't even know if he actually is cheating on her. He may not even be. She may just be super, super paranoid because of
Right.
the trust issues that comes along with dating Tom Sandoval, right? I'm not saying that
Mhm.
he's not cheating. I'm just saying
Yeah.
she may be also just, like, really fucked up because of all the stuff that people say about him. Like, I
Which
would
yeah,
be.
I could see that. Oh, yeah.
I would
See, that's
totally
why
be.
I wouldn't date him.
He really needs a hiatus from life, like, and 1
Mhm.
week 1 week, he was coulda just been the nicer guy on Vanderpump Rules. Like, he coulda just gotten away for 1 week, being, like, the
I know.
least, maybe not, like, the worst in the Vanderpump, and he's like, "No, James took away, I'm getting back in there."
Yeah. I know. How do you feel about them recasting it? Are you excited or are you sad because all this drama is happening, which I feel like they would be caught on video right now?
Oh, I'm so not sad. I've been so over these Vanderpump people the last season too. I am like, to be 100% honest, I think it's my age. I mean, I'm 43, so I don't know if it's my, like, the fact that I've graduated from a to a place, but after I thought season 10 was obviously phenomenal. And then season
Mhm.
11 came back, and halfway through season 11, I was like, I can't do it anymore. I feel like we're watching such a produced version of the show. I got
Mhm.
over them. I really do feel over these people. I don't wanna
Yeah.
watch them anymore. I feel like for the most part, it's just toxic, and clearly it is. They
Yeah.
need to all just, like, go away for the most part. I think, yeah, I don't wanna have to watch these people anymore, especially the guys.
I know. And it's like, I feel like obviously Tom and Tom are friends, but I feel like once the seasons go on and on, some of them just stop being friends. And then to me, it's not a reality TV show anymore because it's not reality. Like Oriana said at the reunion to Lala, my reality is not going up to Tom and talking to him. So do you want me to be fake and do that?
Yeah.
Because I think Lala and Sheena would do anything, which I don't like. I want you to be real. That's why I really do not want them to be permanent cast members of the Valley because for right now, I think the Valley is very organic and it's not
Yeah.
produced, you know?
Yeah, I don't think they'll be permanent. I think they'll just jump in and out. I think they'll be at parties.
Yeah.
I don't see them being like major parts yet. I don't feel like that's gonna happen.
Do you feel like they're clawing on to the people more than like once they were either ding, like inside scoop before they were fully recasted, and then once they definitely were recasted, they're like, "Oh, come on my podcast and let's take pictures together and hang out." It's like, I think
Well,
they're a
Janet,
little
from what
panicked.
I remember, Janet was on Sheena's podcast like a long time ago all the time. So I think Janet and Sheena
Yeah.
do have a genuine friendship. Obviously, Brittany
Yeah.
and Lala and Sheena have a genuine friendship. Chris and Dodie,
Mhm.
obviously. So there are genuine friendships there. Obviously, Michelle Lally or whatever her name is.
Yeah, that
And
shocked me with
yeah,
Lala.
that's
They
just
got close
random.
randomly. Yeah.
Yeah. But there are genuine friendships there. So it isn't so crazy. I mean, Jax, they're all,
Yeah.
Tom Schwartz is lives next door to Jax now. So like what was weird was the Summer House trailer this morning and Tom Schwartz showing up in that house. Did you see that? The
Oh,
trailer this morning?
I didn't see that one, but I saw the other one where Paige and Kyle kinda go at it.
Yeah. At the
Yeah.
end of that trailer, Tom Schwartz is randomly in the house, like talking to the girls. I'm
Oh my
like,
god, maybe I put it
oh,
down and didn't see it. Remember when, like, him and Katie and Stassi were on, like, a really, really long time ago?
yeah.
That I don't mind, like, a pop-in. I liked Winter House when they first did it, and then I got over it, and now I think it's just no more because I didn't
I
watch the
know.
last season.
The last season of Winter House was bad because they brought so many random show people, like, below deck.
Yes.
I was like,
Yeah,
"No."
it's like, no. Yeah, no.
I'm like,
And
"Who's
I
next?"
don't
Like,
watch
Captain
below
no,
deck.
I think Captain Sandy did show up on Winter House. I was like, "No, no."
Yeah, like, that's when I don't like I'd rather just not waste your time and do that. I want stuff to be real, like, no one's hanging out with her, so it's not real.
No, and, like, it feels awkward. It feels like someone's parents are there, like, but,
Yeah,
like, not fun parents.
yeah. I know,
Yeah,
what
it
do
feels
you
like the
make of the
teacher
whole
is here.
yeah. What do you make of the whole Craig and Kyle kinda tit for tat drama they're having?
I think Kyle is lame. I'm a
Yeah,
Craig girl. I've always loved Craig.
love Craigie.
Not always, but I definitely am more of a Craig fan than Kyle. I think Kyle just can't grow up. And to be
Mhm,
honest, like there's no question who runs a better business model.
mhm.
In my opinion, I think Craig is definitely more mature and he has his shit together a lot more than Kyle. And Kyle is just punching so low
I think he's
always.
jealous. I think he's just jealous that he's wasted not wasted, he's spent so much time and money in Loverboy, and it's not at a higher level or the hopes of the high level he thought it would be by now, because it's been around for a while.
Yeah, and he's had nothing but promotion on Bravo. I mean, he's been
Mhm.
literally he Loverboy is the drink of Summer House. I mean, if you think about it,
I know.
every single season except this first or two, like the first
Mhm,
few seasons has been Loverboy. And
mhm.
I have my feelings. I mean, look, I've got my Loverboy Summer Should Be Fun can right next to me. But I will tell you, and this is, my honest opinion. I haven't tried all the flavors, but I don't like the taste of Loverboy. I don't think
Mhm.
that it's priced right. I think it's incredibly expensive for what it is.
It
And
is.
and it's just like if I'm going to go buy a canned drink, it's just not for me. I'm not saying that Craig's is any better, but Craig doesn't own Spritz. Craig is just an investor in Spritz. That's a very different
Right.
kind of a business.
Which
And
is kinda smarter too.
of course, because then you're not putting your whole life savings
Mhm,
into it. You're just literally going to reap the benefits. You'll spend a little money, but he
mhm,
did enough research on Spritz and the business model and realized like it's not as much of a risk. But what Craig said on Watch What Happens Live, which is really makes sense that you have to invest in your business and you have to bring on
mhm,
partners that know business more than you. And it sounds to
mhm,
me like Kyle, from what we've seen and the way he's talked to Carl in the
mhm,
past, is like he holds on really tight to his business and
mhm.
he's a little stingy, I think, and cheap and doesn't want to
Yeah.
give any money away. And because of that, he's never going to grow because he wants to do it all himself.
Yeah, he, like, micromanages everyone's position, which you
Yeah,
can't
and like
which sometimes can be hard, I get that.
and I'm sure I mean, yeah, I'm sure, but I don't know like what your husband does or whatever, but my husband started a business from our garage, like a rental business and a camera rental gear business. And if he didn't
Mhm.
bring on employees and partners, he'd probably still be in the garage. Like he has a big
Right.
business now because of that. You have to take those risks in business. And that means losing a lot of money before you start making the money. But that's why Craig can travel a lot. That's why Craig can go and do other things and make more
Mhm.
appearances and whatever, because he's not seriously sitting there sewing the pillow.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, and you would think that Kyle's business would be more profitable when he talked about it last season. The money they were losing, it's because they're all so lucky. They get this platform that we all don't get. So even if the business is like, they're not the best canned beverage, but you're going to sell a lot just because you're on Bravo and just because people want to try it. I agree with you. I've had it though. Like when we go to the shore, they don't sell it at our liquor store here. I'm from Delaware, which actually, fun fact, is where Craig is from. But he's from like the beach. So he's like an hour and 20
Do you
minutes.
see
Like his
him
parents
ever
from me.
around town?
No, so he's like his parents are like an hour and 20 minutes. And we go to the Jersey Shore. We don't go to the Delaware beach.
Oh, let
But
me
my
ask you a
friends have
question
spotted
though.
him.
I need to know what your thoughts are about Paige and Craig.
Okay.
What do you think?
I know, like in that little trailer, I feel like they always try to make it look like they have problems or breaking up. I think they will go the distance. It's just disappointing to me that Paige doesn't move, and you maybe could do like a half and half because the only time she really needs to be in New York is for Summer House, which is just the weekend. And if you have like an appearance on Watch What Happens Live, but that's like once in a blue moon. Craig, it would be really sad to me if he had to move and uproot his life because he owns a home and he owns a business. Like
And
Paige could
now a
do her Amazon
restaurant.
Live anywhere. Oh yeah, I
And
saw him
now
in
a
Austin open a bar.
restaurant.
I'm like, all right. Like,
And by the way, like, oh, it's called By the Way.
oh
And
my
by
God.
the way, I have a friend that owns 3 well, he's a part owner in a variety of restaurants here down the street in Sherman Oaks. And if you
Mhm.
are a face like Craig, when I say a face, like not only a handsome face, but like a face where people are literally gonna fly into Charleston to go to your restaurant, hopefully to meet you because you're
Right.
like they're not going to, by the way, just because of the food. I'm sure it's gonna be great. But I think especially right now, people are going to go hoping for the chance to meet Austin and Craig right now, right?
Right. Right.
You better be there a
Right.
lot. And if you're not gonna be there, especially on Friday, Saturday nights, right now when you're gonna have so many tourists flying in or coming on the
Mhm.
holidays just to see you, it's gonna be very disappointing. And so
Mhm.
this is the moment where Craig needs to be there all the time. So like
Mhm.
this is gonna screw Craig's life up if Paige never is gonna want to be there. I'm sorry, I agree with you. It's disappointing.
Yeah, and I do like them together. But it's just like I feel like he's always the one trying harder too. Like, I know
100%.
that banter, which is funny, I like that. Like, when he was
Totally.
talking about Molly, the sexting friend, like, I could totally see Paige being like, "Oh, your sexting friend's there," like, teasing him, which is good, and that keeps the relationship not jealous and stuff like that. But I feel like it's just like he needs to do everything, and I feel like Shep and Austin are noticing that, but he doesn't wanna hear it, and then Paige gets upset like, "Oh, they wanna blame me for your changes." Now, I will say Craig is changing for the better, he's not a drunk, annoying mess, but I think they're also seeing, yeah, Craig is gonna move and give up his whole rooted life here for you, for your apartment that you rent in New York.
And apparently, and I don't know if this is true, you know the East Coast better than me. I don't know where she's from exactly. But I did hear that for her, the distance that she is from her parents, which is a big reason why she says she doesn't want to leave New York, is the
Mhm.
same distance that is to Charleston. Like she still has
Yeah.
to fly to see her parents.
Yeah, so I originally thought and just kind of assumed, that she was from Long Island because a lot of my
Yeah.
friends I went to college with, they all got jobs in the city and would still live for a little bit at their parents' house before they save money for the expensive apartments and take the Long Island Railroad because it's very short. But now that I know she's further away, upper New York, like you said, it's not like they're around the corner.
So she still has to like travel a good distance to see her parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I worry a little bit. Like, and then she even says in the trailer, and remember, I am a huge Craig fan and I'm a Paige fan as well. Like, I want them
Mhm.
to work, but I keep seeing these things lately. For example, there's like this little trailer in the trailer for Summer House. She says, "What you have a problem with a strong, independent woman?" And I don't know what world she lives in that she thinks that marrying Craig will make her so that she can't be strong and independent, because I don't think Craig is that kind of guy. Some men
No.
are that way, where they say,
Right.
once we get married, I want you to be a stay-at-home mom and I don't want you to work ever. But that's not Craig. Let's be real. Craig
Right.
will 100% support her dreams.
Mhm.
Secondly, there was a clip for this week's Summer House, and you'll see it in the episode tomorrow night, where she is like on her phone in their
Oh,
backyard.
yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, and he's, like, doing all this stuff, and he's talking to her, like, "Do you wanna do this?
Yeah.
Do you wanna help me with this?" And she's like, "No, no, no."
Yes.
And it's, like, so obvious that she's not even paying attention to him. She's not even
Mhm.
giving him attention, and the second that Madison comes over, she's like, "Hi," like, jumps up, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking, like, "You don't live
I
with him
noticed
full
that.
time."
Mhm.
Yeah, you're not even with him full time. You guys have such busy work schedules and cameras are on you. This is when cameras are on you. So, like,
I
what's
know.
life like when cameras are not on you? Are you just like in bed on TikTok, like not even talking?
Yes. I feel like
Like,
she's
are
the
you
bed.
doing what I do after 20 years of marriage?
Yeah, I don't like that either. That's what I mean. I feel like Craig is gonna just be like, "Fine, I'll move because I wanna have kids," because he's older. So I'm
Mhm.
33. I think he's 36 or 37, and she's
Yeah,
like 31.
yeah,
So I feel
I'm
like
with
he
you.
will end up just moving, and that does disappoint me.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I think a lot of people also feel that if she acted more in love with him and more
Mhm.
goo goo gaga over him, he wouldn't be that into her. I don't know. Maybe he's into that.
That's true too. I think so too. I know,
Maybe
it's
he
like a
likes, like,
slippery slope.
yeah,
It's like she acts like that, so then he's all over her, then maybe if she didn't, like you said, then he'd be like, "Well, whatever. I want the
yeah.
challenge."
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Um, yeah.
I know. I am liking Southern Charm thus far. I am missing Olivia.
Are you?
Just over Taylor, just because I'm like,
Yeah.
"Girl, I'm good. Like, you did that to your friend. Like, I don't really need to see you on camera. If I had to pick between you and Olivia, I'd rather Olivia." And she had, like, a dark season last year that I feel like this season would have been better for her because her brother had just died. So she wasn't gonna be the light of everyone's life, I feel like, or the best scene every time. I just think it would have been interesting to see her interact with Austin, knowing he had a girlfriend for
Mhm.
drama aspect.
Mhm.
But then also, if her and Taylor came back, just seeing if they could have rebuilt a friendship or them discussing further that.
Mhm. Mhm. I always found her very, very boring TV.
Oh,
She, to
really?
me, always had, like, a very dead in the eyes energy, just as a character on reality TV. I don't know yet how Molly is gonna fare. One thing about her is that she's quirky, and that is kind of welcoming for this
Mhm.
show. Like, we haven't seen that on the show in a long time, from a
Yeah.
female cast member. So, I like someone that has, like, a little humor, because like, we
Yeah,
haven't
she's
gotten
funny.
that in a while since, like, Cameron, you know?
Yeah.
Um so hopefully there's, like, a little bit something there, but Molly is also a little awkward, which is a little annoying to watch. Like, she has, like, bad posture and, like, doesn't really know how to hold herself in conversation. So, I do hope that she kind of, like, steps it up. Yeah, Olivia to me was very, very she lacked charisma. At least Taylor to me, even though she did have that villain side of her, like, that
Mhm.
by mistake villain side to her, she did at least have some energy on camera, in my opinion. Leva, I could do
Yeah.
without. She's, like, kinda not on the show, but I could do without her.
And Vanita, right?
Yeah, I wish they used Venita more. I don't know. I don't know why she doesn't get invited to Patricia's house. I guess because she's not really in with any of them.
I know, I feel like the people that were invited to that Easter brunch, like, that's who's gonna be safe forever on the show, in my opinion.
It's kind of almost like Varsity and JV.
Yeah.
Like, the Varsity crew, it's like the OGs, right? The Shep, the Craigs, the
Mm.
Whitneys, Madison. It feels like the JV, and then the JV is like the new generation, the new class.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's all the people that are kind of not in with Patricia.
Which thank God JT left because I definitely can do without him, and that's why I think
Oh
Vanita's
my
gonna
god.
leave because she has, like, a weird crush on him, which we need to examine her head for
Yeah,
that
now it makes
because
me
that's
question
weird.
her as a person.
Yeah, and it's like, what happened to her boyfriend? Like, can we talk about that?
Wait, Vanita?
Yeah, remember last season she had a
She had a
boyfriend, so
boyfriend?
then all of a sudden yeah, it's like all of a sudden now she doesn't,
I don't remember him.
and she has, like, a crush on JT, and also JT, you were obsessed with Taylor, and now all of a sudden you like Vanita. It's like, let's
I don't like
like,
I have
why?
not been able to wrap my mind around JT because I'm so distracted by the limp and the cane. I can't.
The
They should
gas
have just
station
cut him out
cane.
of the show completely.
I know, I know. Well, and he won't be at the reunion, which that's why I wish they just fired him instead of him quitting, because I would
Yeah.
have liked him to be at the reunion. But I think that's why he quit. He doesn't wanna come to the reunion and explain or talk to anybody.
Yeah, I think he's like a runner. Like, once he
Yeah.
got his foot back, he was like, "I'm outta here." He's like Forrest Gump. He's
Screw
like,
this
"I'm just
game.
running."
Yeah. No, that was rude he gave it to Miss Patricia.
I think the whole Kane thing has been weird. Like, I don't get
It
any
was
of the
weird.
Kane. None of this has made sense to me. Like, any of JT has made none of it has made sense. His whole
Like, where'd
story
he
about
even come from?
Austin.
Like, who was he friends with? Like, why were you even on the show?
I think he had like an old school friendship with some of the guys. Like, I think that's how they introduced him, that he was friends with the guys from like back in the day. Golf
Really? See,
friends.
I don't even remember that. And then remember Rod was it Rod or Rob? The one that was,
Is
like,
that
obsessed with Olivia, and she's like, "Oh, oops, I actually don't like you."
Oh yeah, this guy, the one season wonder that kind of came in and came out.
He
There's
was
a bunch of
bad. He
those
was
on the
bad to
show.
me. Yeah.
They come in and out. Remember the other what was his name? Not Burger. He was like a good looking kind. He was like a single dad.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Came in and out.
Yeah. Yeah, those people are weird when they come in and out, and I guess it's because it's kinda like Olivia only got on the show because she was, like, dating or hooking up with Austin. So then it's
It's
like, can you stick? Are you gonna be friends with these people? And if not, you're gonna leave.
I know. I know. It's odd. It's very, very odd.
I know, I am impressed that Austin has a girlfriend though, but I do have to agree with JT a little bit, like, he probably
Oh, for sure.
is or was cheating or some overlapping, but that was funny
Well,
when Craig's like, "I
if
can't
you
be here to hear this."
yeah, if you call me Pookie in a relationship, I'm out.
Oh my god, it was like pukey. It reminded me of 13 going on 30. Remember when she says that? "Pookie? You mean pukey?"
Literally on my show. No, it was like on a members only live where I do like for YouTube. I called my husband on speaker and I was like, "Hi, Pookie," and he was like, "Well, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Come on, Pookie," and he's like, "What? Seriously, no, Donna, don't. What is that? What? No." Like, it is like I don't like the word trigger, and I am highly triggered by the word Pookie.
Ew, and Pookapotamus. I was like,
Ew,
"What?"
Austin,
I know.
gross.
She did look cute. I wonder if we're gonna get her, like, an appearance of her on the show.
We better, or else then you're pulling like a, like a Jenna Lyons.
I know. I
Give
know.
us
Do you watch
the
Roni?
Unfortunately, I have to for my show, but I don't want to, but I have to.
I know, like, I didn't watch it last night, like, I avoid watching it, but I do like since I'm in it, I just wanna see why everyone gets so mad at Bran, and then
So do
her and
I.
Uba screaming on the fight. Yeah, I need to ask you your opinion because 'cause you're a mom, I'm a mom. I don't think Rebecca Minkoff's comment to Bryn was to, like, down her or say, like, "Oh, I have kids and you don't," because we don't know if Bryn is gonna have fertility issues. She hasn't even tried to get pregnant. So it's not like she's tampering with a sensitive subject. I am fully on Rebecca's side. It's like, "No, I actually have children in my bed. You don't. I'm not talking about you being busy. I'm just saying I live with children. I want my own bed. you're
Well,
like single and have a dog.
on last night's episode, Brynn does take a little bit of responsibility for being over offended by it. She
Oh,
says,
she always
this
does.
is totally my own issue. I'm clearly very stressed out about this because the guy that I want, him to be my sperm donor is not taking it seriously and he's not like moving fast on it. And at least she does do that. I find when people get overly sensitive and overly offended about anything, it's usually a them issue. What Rebecca
Mhm,
said was not mean and not rude.
mm,
It's only
mm.
mean and rude if someone is like seriously sensitive because they are struggling to get pregnant or really want a baby and can't have one. But most people that I talk to and don't have kids and are okay with that would 100% agree with the fact that they sleep better than people that have young toddlers or like small
Right?
kids. Like that's like a fact, right?
Yeah.
It's just like saying, who has an easier life? Someone that doesn't have a puppy or someone that has a puppy? Like that's not see,
Right.
but if someone said that to Bryn, if someone said, "Hey Bryn, your life is harder because you have a puppy than my life without a puppy," she would agree with that. It's just because
Right.
she's taking it personally because it's high on her level of sensitivity in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I just didn't like that because it's like also Rebecca wasn't referring to her being busy, but I will counter to no, she's definitely busier than you, Bren, because you may be
No
busy
shit.
with work or your friends or your dog, but like being a mom is 24/7 all the time. So we are automatically sorry, more busy than you. We just and she has 4. I have 2. I feel busy with 2. I couldn't imagine 4.
It's literally nonstop. Like right now, not I'm not with my kids right now, but my brain is like, must go to the store. You have to go to get to them at the school, then take them to
Mhm.
baseball. Like your brain is constantly on duty, even if you're not actually busy
Yeah.
with the kids.
And
You
being
never get to
responsible
just
for
like
a pet.
chill.
Yeah, like, we have a dog too, love him, but, like, when we go out to dinner, we can leave him. I can't leave my 6 and 3-year-old to go out to dinner, like,
No,
"Bye."
no, no, no. And like even if you can with a babysitter, you're still getting text messages. What time do I have to put them in bed? Uh-oh, they're crying. It's like
Oh,
it
we do
really
leave him with a
doesn't.
babysitter. I meant, like, alone. Like, when Bryn
Oh,
goes out,
it
like, she can leave her dog and go out for, like,
it's a
hours and eat.
very
It's
different
so different.
experience.
Yeah.
I
Like
have a
like, we have to get a
12-year-old and
babysitter.
I have a 12-year-old and I finally we leave them home alone for short amounts
Mhm.
of time while we go out to
Oh, that's
dinner,
good.
especially if it's local. It's the best
Mhm.
experience of our lives. We turn the
That's
alarm on,
good.
we lock up, and we like it's amazing. We don't have to hire babysitters anymore for like short times. It's the best.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, when they're like 12, I mean, they have phones and
Yeah.
stuff, like it's a whole different beast. But yeah, when they're 6 and 3, it's a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah, so
It's
I
so
just didn't
hard.
like
So
that
like
being a mom. I was like, "Oh, Bryn, you're already getting on my nerves." And it's like, no offense, like, just go to the sperm bank and get a sperm donor. Like, why are you asking ex fiance to do this with you, but you don't wanna get back together with him?
and also,
Like,
by the
that's
way, I
weird.
highly don't recommend doing what she's doing. I think she should do what Lala did on VPR
Mhm,
because clearly you're already annoyed with him. He's not taking it seriously. You'll see in the episode when you watch it. She's already annoyed
mhm.
that he's like going to London. He's not taking it seriously. This is grounds for drama. Like he
Yeah.
already will not be a present parent. You should not. Unless you have someone that comes to you and like is just as excited with you, do not do it. I have my hairdresser went to a guy. He's actually a former reality star from Big Brother. He was like a huge Big Brother guy. And she and he both wanted kids. They never had a relationship. They came in it together. They basically went to the doctor, IUI, the whole thing. And it was the biggest. I mean, she loves her kid, but this guy is such a big Tulio. And still,
Mhm.
now the kid's like 13 years old and she still deals with such drama with him. It's best sometimes not to know the donor. Like if you're not going to
Yeah.
have an actual co-parenting relationship, it's
It's
probably
like, if
best
you
not to know
could,
them.
why doesn't Bryn just get back together with him? Do you know what I mean? It's like, "Oh, I can raise a kid with you, but we can't date or be married." That makes no sense because raising a child is stressful and is teamwork, and that's what being in a relationship is, teamwork. So it's like, if you could do all that, just marry him.
I
I
know.
don't know. Maybe I'm
And
weird for saying that, but
no, you're totally right. And also, I mean, I just posted on Instagram today about recasting Roni. And I think that they
Mhm.
do need to do like I think they can pull maybe a couple of current people, but I think they do need to do a full recast. And I think they need to put Lindsay Hubbard on it immediately. She has a new baby.
Mm. Yeah,
She's
that would be good.
dating a guy, a successful guy. I don't know if they're going to get married or not, but she's dating a guy. She lives in this gorgeous apartment in New York City with
Mhm.
a new baby. She can't go back to Summer House with a baby. Please, please
Right,
don't force her back on that show. Put her
right.
on Roni. She's activated. She's ready to go. This girl will be a star on that show and she'll bring so many of us, right?
Yeah,
I
I
think
wonder if she
that
knows anyone on the show.
she'll find a way.
Yeah, that is
She
true.
will find a way. I think put her on that show. I would love, I don't know if you know any of these people, but do you know who Taylor Strecker is?
No, I don't think
She
so.
is best friends with Stassi Schroeder. She lives in New York City. She has a
Does she
podcast
go
called
on her Oh, I was gonna say,
she
is
went
she,
on
like,
her
on her
tour.
tour with her? Okay, okay, then yeah, I know who you're talking about.
She has a podcast called Taste of Taylor. She is a later in life lesbian. So she was married
Oh.
to a guy and now she's a lesbian married to another girl named Taylor. They live in this like sick ass Brooklyn apartment. They're friends with like a ton of comedians. The girl who does the Teresa on Watch What Happens Live. I don't know if you've
Oh
seen
my
her.
god, I
Andrea
love
Lopez.
her.
They're
Love
like
her.
besties. She's always at their house. Like, so she's already kind of in with the Bravo crowd. And
Yeah,
she's
oh,
so
that'd be
funny.
good.
I'm
We
like,
need to get you up in Bravo recasting.
I posted about it. I'm like, Andy, listen to me right now. These people have like
Mhm.
audiences, but they're also interesting, dynamic. Like, we need Bryn off our TV. She's so unlikable. She's such a
Yeah.
shit stirrer, but not in a fun way.
She's just, like, acted too. It's like, why are you hiding Jessel's suitcase for 45 minutes?
I would literally kick your ass.
That's not
I would
even
kick your
funny.
ass.
Like, and even sometimes Erin, when, like, she does pranks, it's like, "Are you 10?
No, I
Like,
don't like it at
can you
all.
not?"
And in this episode, I'll say one last thing before we're done. In this last episode, Aaron, they're all shopping, okay?
Mhm,
And they're having a cocktail while they're shopping. So I think they're all just like feeling loose and having fun. And somehow
mhm.
Erin's shopping and she sees something and she looks and she's looking for her husband, for Abe's, something for Abe. And Jenna, somehow penis size comes up. Remember, I don't really watch this show. It's kind of always in the background for me because it's not a show that I focus on. I can't.
Mhm.
And somehow it comes up with Abe's penis size. Like I said, I think Erin's a few cocktails in and she's with Jenna and Bryn. And Erin's like, "You want to see his penis? I have a picture of it." And remember, she's with a lesbian, but she's also with a straight single woman. And
Mhm.
she's like, Bryn's like, oh my God, yeah, I'm dying to see a penis. Oh my God, I can't wait to see his penis. And Jenna's so excited to see the penis too. And so she looks through all her pictures. And shockingly, she has a picture of her husband's dick on her phone, which is like
That's
really
weird.
weird for me because like
That is weird.
I don't. And
Me
she
either.
shows it to the girls and they're like, "Oh, it's huge, it's huge, it's huge." Okay, I think it's weird anyway that Aaron would do that. Number 2. But
Yeah,
then they go out to lunch afterwards. And instead of that just being what happened, Bryn brings it up and says it out to everyone to like start shit.
of
So
course,
Bryn
yeah.
is literally never on your side.
No.
Literally, she will always, she's like, "Guys, Aaron showed me the penis, like, da da da." And everyone was like, "Ew, why would you do that? Do you think Abe would like that? Like, don't wouldn't that be weird if Abe was out with a bunch of guys and like showed everyone your, clit? Like,
Yeah.
wouldn't that be weird? It's
Locked
weird.
in the safe like Kathy Hilton. I mean,
In the
I think
bank,
that's weird. Yeah, that was funny. That's so I literally believe that though. But yeah, I think it's
100%.
just weird. And I think Bryn thinks she has to act because it's like her job.
She drives me nuts.
I know.
I just think none of them like each other on Roni. Not one of them. I don't think they like each other. So they're all mean to
Mhm.
each other.
Yeah, 'cause they're really not friends, and that's what I hate when these shows get away from, like, "Well, I'm not really your friend, so like you said, I'll be mean to you."
Yeah, they're just trying, and especially Brynn, she's the worst of it. She literally just tries to like instigate drama wherever she goes. She's trying so hard to make people mad at each other and then plays it off like, I
Mhm.
love you. Kiss, kiss,
I think it is
lesbian.
because she's miserable. Like,
Mhm.
she can smile and laugh, but I think she's sad. I think she's lonely and, like, hurt people hurt other people. That's what the saying is, and I feel like that's her.
I agree. I agree. I think it was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, not good.
Well, this was so fun.
It
Thank
was
you
really
so
fun
much
to
for
talk
coming
crap.
on. I know, I love it.
I know. I know.
Tell
Thank you so
everyone
much
where they
for having
can
me.
find you.
Well, I have a daily show Monday through Friday. It's called Daily Dose of Donna. You can find it every day on YouTube. I actually go live every day on YouTube. Of course, with the holidays, things are a little funky, but normally at 11 a.m. Pacific time, approximately, on YouTube. And then I am on every audio app as well, Spotify, Apple. And I'm on Instagram at This Is Donna Bowling. Dana is how you spell my name.
Love that. And to leave off, my favorite question, if you were on The Real Housewives, what would your tagline be?
Jesus. That would be my tagline, Jesus. I am not okay. I would say I may be small, but my voice is loud. That's
Oh, I
bad.
like that. No, I like that. I feel like they would pick that.
Okay. I may be small, but I have a loud voice. Okay, I'll work on it. I'll think about it.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, next time you come on, you can have a redo. But I like
I'm
that
gonna
one.
work on it. I'm gonna chat GPT some.
That's funny.
Well, thanks,
All
Erica.
right. Thanks for coming on. As always, this was so fun, and you could find me on Instagram at Bravo T with the Stay at Home Mom, Spotify, and Apple. Till next time, see ya.